Alright everybody, this is going to be a big, fat, and special video, so expect lots of overlays, transitions, and source material for this one, since we're stepping outside of the world of Indivisible to talk about the guest characters. During the Indiegogo campaign, Lab Zero announced that it would be hosting 7 guest incarnations to join Ajna's journey. The 7 lucky stars are Annie of the Stars from Skullgirls, Juan from Guacamelee, Shovel Knight from Shovel Knight, Leia from Curses and Chaos, the Drifter from Hyperlight Drifter, Calibretto from Battle Chasers, and ZACKASAURUS from Super Time Force Ultra. Each of these games holds some very fantastic RPG, side-scrolling, or beat-em-up concepts that have been influenced by other cult classic games or fall in the similar vein as Indivisible. On top of that, each of the characters are so wild and diverse that they could easily find some way into the world of Indivisible via its lore, or by each personal character's lore. Now let's get started. Starting us off is Juan from Guacamelee. Guacamelee is a fun, vibrant, and entertaining game by Dreambox Studios that takes its gameplay inspirations from Metroid and Castlevania. The game itself is filled with grand video game Easter eggs and references on top of a unique and solid gameplay. Juan starts out as a mild-mannered guy who is just a simple farmhand. When the mayor's daughter is kidnapped by an evil undead supervillain in his game of Bad Banditos, Juan attempts to save her at the cost of his own life. In the land of the dead, he finds a legendary luchador mask of courage and regains his life along with super strength and vitality. This is what begins his quest. Juan is a luchador at his core and uses various grapples, moves, and attacks to platform his way through the world of Guacamelee. With his diverse moveset, translating into attacks within Indivisible will be extremely easy in my opinion. On top of this, Juan's linkable moveset in Guacamelee works perfectly with Indivisible's action gauge-based combat system. It may be too seamless. For Juan's neutral attack, we could pick a really strong and effective move, Olmec's Headbutt. In the game, Juan uses this move to smash through blocks in his way and to combo enemies. For Indivisible, this could play out just the same way, animations and all. As for effects, powerful knockdowns, and maybe even enemy knockback causing enemy collision. Within Juan's moveset is the only tech noteworthy of an upward attack, the Rooster Uppercut. In Guacamelee, this move is the primary vertical platforming tool to reach higher platforms just out of reach and send enemies into the sky for great combos. And speaking of combos, the down attack must be dedicated to Juan's grab command. This is the perfect kind of move for him as an attack starter, continuation, or ender. When Juan uses the grab in Guacamelee, he can toss his enemies 360 degrees in any direction. He can throw them into walls, ceilings, the ground, or even into other enemies. This lets him continue his combo strings and build more meter. In Indivisible, this could be used as part of one of his action gauges mid-combo. Imagine using his Rooster Uppercut to knock an opponent into the sky, then grab them, followed by using any other directional throw or perform another action. Think of it almost like Beowulf's grapple mechanic in Skullgirls. It's time for justice. Shovel Justice! Shovel Knight digs his way into Indivisible and is probably going to be one of my favorite incarnations to play as. Brought to you by Yacht Club Games, Shovel Knight can be described as a great mix between Castlevania and Dark Souls. And if that doesn't give you chills of fear and excitement, nothing in this world will. Throughout the game, Shovel Knight is on a quest to stop the Order of No Quarter who are plaguing the land, and with trusty shovel in hand, he'll trudge up a grave for all who oppose him. In Shovel Knight, he has 3 basic moves along with relics that you can acquire throughout the story. Assuming his relics become later usable moves, we'll allocate his basic actions as attacks. For a neutral attack, a neutral move shall apply. Shovel Knight's basic attack in his own game is a simple dig. It hits enemies, can deflect projectiles, and even dig up loot. In Indivisible, I could see our groundskeeper of chivalry taking a dig at his target. Simple, clean, good pokes. Like most side-scrolling adventure platform games, directional attacks always exist, and Shovel Knight is no different. In his own game, you can jump into the air and hold down to use your shovel to bounce off of objects and enemies to move around and keep yourself safe from damage. This would make a most excellent up attack, causing Shovel Knight to jump into the air and strike down on an opponent. A great extension to this move would be to sacrifice more action gauges to keep bouncing on your current target or shifting to other targets and spreading your damage around. And finally, we have the down attack, and this is going to be left for his charging slash attack. After some nice upgrades, Shovel Knight can hold down the attack button and slash at a target to deliver a mean slicing chop to take care of enemies with extra hits to their health. When assisting Ajna, he can take a hearty wind-up and deliver that same slashing blow, maybe with a bit of a shockwave to help hit nearby targets. Cursed in life and thrown into chaos, Leia smashes in! To Indivisible, that is. Leia is a bounty hunter from the game Curses and Chaos. When her and her partner become cursed by a dastardly villain, the only chance of lifting it is to smash monsters and gather ingredients to make the elixir of life. In Curses and Chaos, you and a friend can team up and smash monsters in a classic beat-em-up game that becomes extremely high-paced and preys on your impatience under pressure. Not only do you have attacks to defeat monsters, you can acquire items to heal yourselves or items to do more damage to opponents, such as hammers, cannons, and much more. This creative arsenal, in my opinion, becomes another easily adaptable moveset for Indivisible. Leia's two basic moves are a punch and a jump kick. These two moves can easily be split up into her neutral and upward attacks. Now, I know those last two move speculations are pretty lackluster, but the down move is where we're going to get really creative. As I mentioned before, in Curses and Chaos, it provides you lots of tools in order to get the job done. Based on your equipment, your downward attack would be transformed into God knows what, as you unleash actual chaos upon your enemies. Cannonballs, tidal waves, hammers, you name it. Slot 4 in today's video goes to the Drifter from Hyper Light Drifter. Now this guest may be a bit harder to speculate for on all aspects, mostly because Hyper Light Drifter isn't out yet. It succeeded recently in its kickstarting project and has since reached many stretch goals. From the descriptions on their many pages and from the trailer, the game is a hack and slash boasting the best of games such as Diablo and A Link to the Past, enhanced and beautiful sprites along with calming yet deep and dark tones. You play as the Drifter and crawl through dungeons, fight enemies, and find secrets all throughout the game. So how is the Drifter supposed to exist in Indivisible when we, the fans, don't know too much about this game and its guest? Well, luckily, the Kickstarter does reveal a lot about the game's mechanics and combat. Drifter's primary weapon is a solid light sword, but also carries many secondary items and weapons such as a rifle, roly-poly explosives, pistols, and so much more. Starting his moveset with a neutral attack, probably a simple shot from Drifter's powerful rifle will get the creative ball rolling. For an upward attack, Drifter can use some enemy heat-seeking drones. These could even chase down enemies that get knocked around the combat area. If you fancy some wild combos, then this might be a nice move to have in the game to keep those combo strings running. And for Drifter's down attack, Drifter could use the solid light sword and perform a fast and impressive slash combo or assault on a row or group of targets. Now this one's gonna confuse a few folks out there who may not have heard of this guy's game, but ZACKASAURUS leaps through time to join Ajna from this game, Super Time Force Ultra. Super Time Force Ultra, or STFU for short, is a side-scrolling action game where you use a godly ability called the Timeout to rewind time and insert a character back into the timeline you were originally on, thus adding an ally to your original strategy and storyline. Can't kill those two snipers without dying after killing one? Timeout! Rewind that shit and give yourself some backup. Among the cast is Jean Rambois with his machine gun, Amy McKillen the sniper, Jeff Leopard on bazookas, Shieldy Blockerson covering the rear, and ZACKASAURUS, skateboarding dinosaur? As a member of the Super Time Force, Zack skates around the stage and spits poison and bites things. For ZACKASAURUS' neutral attack, we can start him off with his signature bite, skating up to a foe and taking a nasty chomp, similar to the spoiled food enemies found in Indivisible's prototype. This bite could be so massive that it could hit more than one target as well. For ZACKASAURUS' up attack, he could prep himself a nice fat loogie of poisonous venom and spit it at a target. The initial hit could do damage, and of course afterwards inflict a poison status condition to whittle away at boss enemy health. Now, Zack's only got 2 moves in Time Force Ultra, and according to Indivisible, they want to do something with making him go full-on extreme dinosaurs for his itty super. So I guess this means we're going to have to come up with something really clever. For Zack's down attack, I'd actually love to see him put that skateboard to good use and do some sick tricks and stunts. Maybe as he performs his moves, you could input commands to denote what kind of tricks he does and change the attack up a little bit. 6th on the guest list is Calibretto from Battle Chasers Night War. Battle Chasers originally was a fantasy action comic from the late 90s. Revitalized by Airship Syndicate, it has returned as Battle Chasers Night War, a kickstarted game with influence from JRPGs and founding members of Vigil Games, folks who brought you Darksiders and Darksiders 2. Calibretto is an ancient war golem with a very gentle side, and he's the last of his kind as well. Big, powerful, and packing explosives in his arms. On top of all of this, he also has some healing skills as well. Due to his massive size, a comment made by Indivisible staff stated that he would probably not be usable in small, tight spaces, and if you were on your team during that time, he would just stay inside Ajna's inner realm. so be sure to pick your teammates wisely. With Calibretto, I'm going to imagine his movesets containing a mixture of hard punches and hits, as well as some artillery and heavy firepower. For his neutral attack, we could use Calibretto's powerful wind-up gut punch seen in the gameplay trailers. This move could do some mean damage and cause a really powerful, quick snapping pushback that slams an opponent into a wall or other targets. For Calibretto's upward attack, a spread shot of rapid-fire bullets from his Gatling gun could mow down an entire row of enemies in front of you when you're dealing with large mobs. And for his down attack, I would like to take advantage of some of his healing aspects, such as growing consumables, maybe akin to Nana's theorized abilities with her plant manipulation. He could plant a seed using an action gauge, and by the time his used action gauge has been recovered, the plant is grown. Or, if you spend another action gauge, you could speed up the process and hand off the item to a teammate to heal them a little. Last and certainly not least is guest number 7 and Lab Zero's very own Annie of the Stars. Annie was the 6th announced DLC character that could be voted on during Lab Zero's last Indiegogo campaign to fund Squiggly. In the end of this campaign, they raised around $820,000 and funded a handful of new stages, theme songs, and a total of 6 DLC characters. Annie shows up in a few storylines within Skullgirl's story mode. She's the main character of the Annie of the Stars TV show, an anti-Skullgirls program for kids, but is also an actual superhero and plays a major role inside of Beowulf's story mode. Forever immortal, she battles against evil with her remote parasite Sagan, who takes the form of a rabbit she carries with her. During the Indiegogo for Squiggly, 3 DLC characters were to be voted on by popularity. A webpage was dedicated to each announcement, showing off their design and inspirations for their unrevealed playstyles. For Annie's neutral attack, she could use her slick sword made out of meteorite and cleave her way into foes using magical girl-esque attacks and flair. For Annie's upward attack, she could rocket herself into an enemy using her parasite-imbued powers and deliver a quick combo strike and end it with a very flashy, burning strike. And for her down attack, Sagan could give her a temporary extra boost in damage, ED gain, or action gauge recovery, all while visually accentuating Annie with galactic motifs and glitter. Man oh man, that was a lot of characters and a lot of content on this special part of Incarnation Speculation. If you have any interest in any of the games that these characters come from, check the description below to learn more about them. For the games that are out, I highly recommend you try them and play them for yourself. As a reminder, the moves and in-game concepts I've covered for these characters are all theories and speculations, not fact or future plans for the game. If you guys have your own theories, be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content and stay tuned for the next Incarnation Speculation. If you haven't checked out Indivisible yet, be sure to visit www.support-indivisible.com. Download the prototype and donate today. Once again, I'm Maguma, and I'll see you all next time.